So today we're working on a Toyota RAV4 2006. It's got the 3.5 V6, and we're going to be doing the spark plugs and the coil packs. It's actually coil on plug. This same motor is in a lot of Camrys and even some Lexus. And the challenge is we need to get that top cover off that you see there. Just grab that and lift up. It'll come right off. It's just a little pressure, press on, pull off, push back on type of thing. And I'm going to show you how we remove part of the intake, the plastic intake, right there, and that allows us access to the back spark plugs and coil packs to replace them and to install new all around. We've got to take off the throttle body and the air filter that you see there. I've got a mirror showing you there's two support bolts that help hold the plastic intake on, and you can barely see it in the reflection there. I'm going to work on making that more visible for you. Here I'm just going to undo the clamps on the air intake to get that piece out of the way so that I can then take off the throttle body. Pull out all the vacuum hoses. Be sure and remember where they went and where you put them. Just pull that thing off. See how easily it comes off. Pull off the vacuum hose there and then pull that whole thing off. Sometimes you got to get a little strong arm on it, but it definitely helps to loosen the clamp a little bit more. So there we go. And it's just going to take another little hoist and a pull, and it'll come right off, and you can just put it out of the way. And here we go. Got the monkey grip. Good. Now we're going to tuck away the master brake cylinder vacuum line there, and that's some kind of positive crank vent tube. So we need the 4 bolts on the throttle body. Those are 10 millimeter bolts. And you're just going to take them off and remove the whole throttle body. The 3 that are closest to us right now are easy to see. The bottom right hand corner is the tough one. There it is. It's kind of hard to see. You got to get around a different angle, but it's right there. Just pop those all a little bit loose, and then you can just with your finger unscrew the bolts. They are a little long, so it does take a little bit to get them out. But here we've got the finishing up. See, it's just finger tight at this point. It's just use your fingers, just undo it, and it comes apart pretty easily. So working real well with that. Very easy. I could have used air power on this, but a lot of us don't have, compressors and air wrenches, so I thought I'd just stick with good old, ratchet and etc. that type of thing. So here the bolts are just finger tight. Pull them out. Go ahead and just put that throttle body off to the side and get that out of the way. And then we're going to get on to getting the plastic part of the intake off. We have to get the 2 back support bolts that are bracing it to the body. And those are a little bit of a challenge, as you saw with the mirror, once we get this out of the way. I really recommend a ratchet box end wrench. You're going to need a 12 millimeter box wrench, whether it's ratchet or not. I recommend ratchet because it makes it a lot easier. Invest in a set, pick your favorite brand. And there we go, finally got this thing going. And that will save you a lot of time when you get into these tight situations. It seems like these cars are very tight tolerance. There's a nice shot of where the wrench is going onto the bolt that we need to undo. There's one on the right side, there's one on the left side. They're both very hard to see, but you can kind of feel around and even just use. This was a little visor mirror that I had gotten from some auto parts store for a couple of bucks. It let me see where I was going, let me see what I was doing, and let me show you so that you can see what you need to do with that as well. Here's the left side. I did the right side first. Here I had cracked it loose with the wrench, and now I'm just using my hand to loosen it. Here we're taking off the electronic connection. Gently squeeze the end of that, and then now we're getting ready to take, these are 10 millimeter bolts, 1 on each end, left and right, and just loosen those, and then again they come up super simple with finger tight. And these are hex Allen bolts, very snug. As you can see, it takes a little bit of torque, a little bit of pressure to pop them loose. But go ahead and I just pop them all loose, and then you can go ahead and take the time to spin them all out and get them all completely unbolted from the lower portion of the intake manifold. This is going to allow you to take that whole plastic thing up and out of the way so you can have access to the backside of the motor against the firewall, where you're reaching to get 3 coil on plug as well as the plugs that are underneath. The coils on the plug has been, there it comes, just lift it up and take it away. So the coil on plug has been a common problem for the 06 RAV4 and possibly other models. This is just a view showing you the intake, and also what I'm trying to do here is very carefully and gently put some paper towels down inside without knocking any dirt or any debris into the intake. I want to keep that as clean as possible. So 1/4 sheet or 1/2 sheet of paper towel per intake port that we have there. And once I've done that, I'm also going to come back and clean the dirt that remains on the surface, just with a little water and paper towel, basically, just to clean it up so that when I put that intake back on, I don't inadvertently knock some dirt down inside the intake. I want to keep that as clean as possible. So just taking a moment to finish up with the paper towels. Some people might lay a cloth across. That can work for you if you like it. Here's the 3 coil packs that are on that back side right up against the firewall. Got 1, 2, and 3 right there. You can access them now. Some people have said remove the wiper motor. I didn't have to. Here's where I'm taking the bolt. It's a 12 millimeter bolt. This is the bracket. This is the other side of the bracket. That goes right across the coil pack, so you need to remove that. And I believe that is a 12 millimeter, just to take that part of the bracket. You can see the front part of the bracket was what was bolted into the plastic part of the intake. You take that off. Now you can get at that, and there's the bolt. There's the 12 millimeter bolt for the coil pack, for the coil on plug, for that cylinder. Those are 12 millimeter, and so just takes very little pressure to loosen them, and once loosened, it's just a finger unbolt kind of idea. Very simple, very straightforward. Pulls right out. Now, unplugging these things, you have to press on the back side of the clip to pull the wire off, to pull the plug off, and then you can just see it just pulls right out. Very simple, very straightforward, and that's what it looks like. A big old long coil that goes way down inside and sits right on the spark plug. So now we're going to take like a 6-inch extension with a universal plug, 5/8 inch socket is what it is, and just undo the spark plug and pull that out of there. Sorry I didn't get a shot of pulling it out. I did with all the others. You'll be bored with that. Here's the new coil pack that I'm putting on, or coil on plug, that I'm going to put in there. These were about $50 some odd each. I saw some advertised a full set of 6 for $139. I wanted to try and go with a bit more quality. So here it just slips right in. It's absolute perfect fit. The plug, the electronic plug, clips right on perfectly, and then we just need to get that bolt and put it back into place. Again, just start it with the fingers and finish up with a socket. That's a 12 millimeter socket on that. And so we're going to go through all 6 of these and show you just how I did each one. Going to kind of cut through some of the boring stuff, but we're going to show you some of the boring stuff as well. So regale in that. And there we go. And here we're moving on to the second one, the middle one, loosening it, and finally put a little bit of a 3-inch extension on there to make it easier just to finger loosen that and take the bolt out. And got the Richter cam going here. I'm holding the camera with one hand and working the wrench with the other. And so if you start to feel a little queasy or something, that's what's going on. Now here is where I ran into the coil on plug was kind of stuck in there, and gently pulling it didn't work. So I took a straight blade screwdriver and just gently propped it up, just pried it up. Very soft, very gentle, no pressure, and it comes right up and out, so very easy. Here I'm fishing the socket down in to take the plug out and undo the plug. And I think with this one I actually do show you the plug when we pull it out. These plugs had gone 130,000 miles. They're the iridium plugs, so they're I think rated to last about 100,000. The gap I believe was originally 0.40, but these look like they were gapped at somewhere between 1/4 inch to 5/16, something like that. The gap was very wide. So I showed you the shape of the plug, condition of the plug there as we pulled it out. Putting in the new plug, super simple, straightforward. Now put the coil on plug on it. slip it right down. There's a little bit of finagling. You see I'm kind of bumping into things a little bit, but for the most part, it really does just slip right in. It goes right into place. Put the plug on, an electronic connection, and then just put that little bolt in, and shazam, you're done with the second one. These are so much easier when impossible. It's near impossible with that plastic intake part on. And to just simply remove that and to know, okay, here's what I've got to do is just such a gift. And when I first started this, I had a great deal of trepidation because I had done some reading and I had looked at this and I thought, okay, this is going to be potentially a bear. It ended up taking me a little bit over 2.5 hours. And yes, it does require some attention to detail. There comes the coil unplug. This is on the third one, I believe, and going in to get the spark plug out. Anyway, after 2.5 hours of being careful with each of the steps, this job was done and completed. We got a quote from the dealer. They were going to charge us $300 each plug on the front side, so that's 300 times 3, and $600 to do these back ones each. So that's $1,800 to do the back and $900 to do the front. That's $2,700 to do these 6 plugs with these 6 coil on plug. We paid approximately $420 in parts, 50 something for each coil on plug, and we got the 6 iridium plugs for I think it was $40, something like that. And of course we needed to get a gasket set for the intake that we took off. So here's the front 3. These are the super simple ones. If it's one of your front 3, you don't need to take that plastic thing off. You just pull that original cover that I showed at the very beginning, pull it off. Those are accessible, easily accessible to you without taking that plastic intake off at all. Here I'm just quickly removing each bolt all at once, all 3 bolts at the same time, or one right after another, I guess. And that allows me then just to go ahead and unplug them, pull the coil on plug off, pull the spark plug out, replace it with a new one. Very simple, very straightforward. And sorry for the wide-angle camera lens, but I used a GoPro to do this, and it allows me to get in very close so that I can show the detail of the parts and the tools and where I'm at. So there I just unplugged it, super simple. Pull up, see how easy they come out? Worked like a champ. So here I'm taking out the spark plug. It was very tight for this one. It had been in, well, it's 2015 and that was a 2006 car. So you can see, yeah, it's past time to change those plugs. So new one going in, doing well. And this entire job, as I say, took me a total of 2.5 hours. And now that I've done it once, I could probably do it in an hour and a half. You know how that goes. If you're doing front brakes, the first side takes you 45 minutes, the other side takes you 15. Once you know what you're doing and you've got a feel for it and what to expect, it just goes so much quicker. See how that just presses right down, slips right on there. Go ahead and push the electronic connector right on, and then just get the little bolt, put it right in place, start it with your fingers, finish it with a wrench. Same thing, rinse and repeat. Here we go. It's a little bit tough sometimes on the little electronic plugs. Be careful with them. You can snap the little retainer ring on them. I did on several, and I still went ahead and just pushed them back on, and they were good to go. So here we're doing the middle plug of the front 3. Pulling that out, you're going to get a look at, ooh, it was ugly. And then putting in the new plug. And I don't know that the universal socket on that spark plug really helped, but I think it did. So if you don't have one, don't worry about it. I think you'll be able to do it just fine. But if you do have one, I think it assisted and aided and abetted me just a bit. Snapping the connector on, putting the bolt in, getting that put together. Yeah, watching this can be kind of tedious or perhaps entertaining. If I had some funny jokes, I'd tell them to you. Sadly, I don't. So here we go on the last one. Getting down in there to get the spark plug out. And getting my work light to shine directly into the camera for effect. There it is. That's one fugly plug. And here we go. Putting in the final plug. I always start these plugs just by hand. Just fingers so I can tell that I've got the threads correct and I'm not cross-threading anything. Drop in the coil on plug. plug it in, put the little bolt, tighten that bolt down, and all 6 are installed. Wow. And here I'm just finishing up by putting the bracket back on that is on the left side that's going to hold attached to the plastic intake. So just getting it finger tight, and I'm going to tighten it down a bit. Not going to tighten it down completely because I want it to be able to move when I put the plastic intake piece on there. Here I'm cleaning the top surface of the intake so that I don't mistakenly knock any dirt down into the intake when I put this plastic piece back on. Just trying to make sure it's nice and clean. And here this is the plastic intake. I've turned it upside down. This is the part that's going to mate to the surface I was just cleaning. So I'm just wiping the big hunks of dirt off, and yes, I turned it upside down and knocked out anything that might have knocked into it. And here I'm just grabbing the gaskets, the rubber gaskets. You got those little nipples there. You can grab that, pull up on it, and it just pulls right out. Very simple, very straightforward. Again, this is a car that has about 130,000 miles on it. So this is from Arizona. I've been in Arizona for about the past 8 years or so. So it's seen a lot of very high heat existence. The new gaskets are a perfect fit. They really only go in one way, in that the orientation, see right there, I had to flip it over to get it to fit in the orientation of the way the openings are. But it's just a matter of just lay it in place, push it gently. Super simple. I didn't add any other goop or gasket material or anything. I just put these into place, cleaned it, turned it over, knocked out anything extra. Here I'm just removing the paper towels so that I can go ahead and put the plastic intake part back on top, making sure everything's clean, making sure nothing's gotten down into the intake. And shazam, I have lots of extra paper towels that I can use to wipe up spills or whatever. Here I've just kind of set it onto it, and I'm running into the throttle body, so it hasn't quite set all the way down. Real nice shot of my fingertips there. Sorry about that. You can see the throttle body's kind of bumping into it there. I need to get the throttle body. There we go. So now it's down, it's solid, it's in the exact same place that it needs to be. It's ready for some bolts. It's ready to have the throttle body bolted onto it. It's all set to go. Got a real nice bit of Richter cam there for you. If that doesn't make you want to toss your cookies, I don't know what will. You're sturdier than I am. I'm about to. So here we go. We've got 4 Allen bolts and then the 2 nuts, 1 on each end, left and right. Now what I did is, because it's kind of tight inside, I took the Allen wrench and see how I held onto the bolt, and that let me guide that bolt down into the hole so that I didn't drop it down inside somewhere and have to go digging around for it. So that was just one little blessing there. And then, just tighten them down in sequence. You can do a pattern to help make it look so that it compresses evenly all around. You can check out the specs of what the torque is. I just snugged them down very snug because when I took them out, they were very snug. I know that's not scientific, but that's what I did. Sorry, big admission there. So, as we watch the tedious process of tightening these Allen bolts and also the little 10 millimeter nuts that are on each end. There we go, the left end. Put it on with your fingers. You can tighten it up with a 10 millimeter socket. There's the right end of the same corresponding bolt and nut. Get those things on, get them all snug down those along with the Allen bolts to create a pattern and sequence so that it secures that plastic intake piece properly and evenly. And good job. Here we go. Going to finish up with that. And let's see. Slowly but certainly, step by step, inch by inch. Yes. And now we're going to put back on the throttle body, so we get the 4 bolts. That just sets up right into place. Very simple, super clean and easy, really straightforward. Just put the bolts in, get them started with your fingers, finish it up with the little 10 millimeter socket, and you're all good to go with that. Of course, I had to show you minute detail in excruciatingly slow time and how it takes. And that bottom right hand corner is probably the trickiest corner because you can't just easily see it from the front. You have to come around the side, the driver's side, so you can see it. and maybe you'll be able to do it just by feel or whatever. You're better than I am, so wonderful. And then this again is just to snug it down, don't over torque it. Here we're just plugging back in the electronic connection on the far left side, putting back in the vacuum hoses. If you want to use colored tape or tape where you put numbers on to make sure you put the right hose in the right place, whatever system you want to use, just putting the air box back on here with the corresponding vacuum hose. And sometimes you need a little bit of a grunt and a muscle and to hold your mouth correct. You have to kind of down on the left side of your mouth, and that makes everything work perfect. So here we're hooking it up right in between the two. It's nice and solid. We're going to tighten up the little hose clamp with Phillips head screwdriver, and that's going to secure that intake portion onto the throttle body and onto the air box that has the air filter. So here we go. Plug in the various vacuum hoses, tighten down that little clamp, tighten down the other clamp, both sides. Why must I show you each and every step? I don't know. And here we're just going to take and put the top right on. It literally just use the oil filler hole as a guide, and you just press down and it just fits. It's snug, and shazam, you're good to go. And that's the name of that tune, kids. And then we start it.